Hello, YouTubers, weirdos online, and the occasional Vatnik, and, all you scrufftards as well, obviously. Welcome to the Warzone. I'm Scruffy, and this is Scruffy Tales. Like I said, I'm busy this weekend, so can't do my ordinary video, so it's gonna be these weird ones. Anyway, so I figured I'll make another video. The hell with it. We have seen precious little evidence of what's going on around Tetrino. We don't know. Two smaller, not that often seen mappers, Mayakovsk 73 and Scribble Maps, they both have given Ukraine some advances at Tetrino, to the south of it, where there has been multiple artillery strikes, but none of the larger, more trusted mappers indicate anything of the sort. We have Andrew Perpetua, but on the flip side, he's not giving Ukraine any gains south of Tetrino, but north. He has listed the territory north of Tetrino as contested. So very unclear what's happening around Tetrino. What we do know is that we have seen massive artillery barrages surrounding the town for about a week, and I do mean massive, as confirmed by the NASA FIRMS maps. And we also have Russian airstrikes towards the highway that is leading from Ukraine towards Tetrino. Something appears to be going on, but nothing is really showing on the map, so we just don't know. Is it a third incursion? Is it a diversion, a decoy by Ukraine to trick Russia to allocate manpower away from the main battles at Veseloye and Tetrino? Who knows? But what we do know is that Andrew Perpetua and Deep State have both given Russia some further gains towards Tetrino, giving them territory, moving Russia closer to the Snagos River and the town of Tetrino. And these are the first Russian advances in several days, basically first Russian advances in a week in that area, south of the town of Snagost. And they are now moving across those fields south of Snagost towards where the river Snagost, not the town, but the river Snagost, where it makes a sharp turn south towards Ukraine. Russia is now moving towards that point where Snagost enters Ukraine, and close to that point, we have a town called Tetrino, where there's a bridge, and it appears as if Russia wants to grab that bridge and that town, because they have claimed to already crossed at that location, but those claims appears to be bogus. Let's put it that way. So we have Russian advances once more up in Kursk, and those advances are dangerous because if Russia can get across it, the Tetrino, I doubt they will, but if, then they are in a very good position to cut vital supplies for Ukraine leading north that could force the Ukrainians holding the northeastern and northern front, northwestern, I should say, northwestern and northern fronts. If those supplies are cut, they may have to fall back and leave the area surrounding Koronevo. What else? Well, down at Pokrovsk, the Russians are outside of Selidove, and if they can take Selidove, then they have achieved operational success in so forth as securing logistics into the battlefield surrounding Pokrovsk. That means they can bring in all the manpower and resources they need to support the fight surrounding Pokrovsk and within Pokrovsk when that final assault eventually happens. So things are slowly progressing for Russia around Pokrovsk. We should take note, though, that in a month, last time I made a video dealing with Pokrovsk was about a month ago, and in that time they have not reached the Kurakove Dam or the town of Kurakove. So it's slow progress for the Russians, as I predicted. And in this month, since last I made a video about Pokrovsk, Russia has gained some 6 kilometers of territory from where they were to their point where they are at south of Seledove. 6 kilometers in 1 month in that direction. And outside of Seledove, they've taken something like 56 square kilometers. So it's nothing. A full month at Seledove, they've gained very little territory. And this just goes to show how long this fight will take, right? Russia is gaining ground, yes, but it will take them months to get into position to actually assault Pokrovsk, and then fighting in Pokrovsk itself will take even more months. This will take time. This battle is not over. It has hardly begun, basically. And we have a similar situation up at Kupiansk. In a month, Russia has gained 5 kilometers. That's how far they have pushed outside of Kupiansk, that steady push towards the Oskil River. They are now 3 kilometers from the Oskil River, by the way. But in a month, they're taking 5 kilometers. So they're going to need, 2-3 weeks? 3 weeks maybe to maybe reach the Oskil River. So it's slow progress as well up at Kupiansk. So yes, Russia is steadily advancing, steadily gaining ground and territory. This is true, but it's taking time, and it's costing them thousands of troops and hundreds of vehicles in achieving this. So it's not like we're seeing massive, rapid assaults all over the place. It's slow going for Russia, really slow going. And that is actually working in Ukraine's favor. Now, you might think that a war of attrition is what Russia is after, that should be that should gain Russia in the long run. I don't think it will. Ukraine is holding on to territory in Kursk. And the longer that continues, eventually Russian politicians will place demands on the Russian generals to liberate Kursk, forcing the Russian generals to allocate time and resources to fighting Kursk instead of fighting down in Ukraine. And also, Russia is having economical problems, issues. They can't keep up production. They have to purchase hardware from China, from North Korea, from Iran, and they're now selling military secrets regarding missiles and submarines to the Chinese to get some military hardware in return. I mean, it's a bargain for the Chinese. And it should tell you something how desperate the Russians are to get military hardware to stay in this fight in Ukraine. So 2025 looks to be an interesting year where Russia will struggle even more. Western ammunition production will truly kick off, where Western nations will produce something like 3 million artillery shells per year, and Russia will only produce something like 1 million artillery shells. You may have heard that Russia can produce 3 million per year. That is if you include artillery, mortars, and missiles, rockets. Then you get 3 million. pieces of indirect fire ammunition. But if we look at standard artillery, in Russia's case, 152 millimeter, that's 1 million per year. And if we look at Western countries, they use the 155 millimeter shells that Ukraine has now adopted, and the West will then produce 3 million of those per year. So the West is outproducing Russia in terms of ammunition for artillery. So 2025 will be very interesting. We will see more F-16s in the skies for Ukraine. Ukraine will have AWACS operational. Russian economy will grow weaker. Inflation will rise in Russia. The Russian railroad systems will buckle and crumble more and more. And here's the if Ukraine can hold on to Kursk as this drags on, Russia will probably have to allocate more and more manpower to that fight to liberate Russian territory. And that should hopefully make things easier around other parts of the front lines down in Ukraine. Hopefully that will include Pokrovsk. So if this drags on, it should work in Ukraine's favor, if you ask me. Ukraine wants Pokrovsk to drag on. It will more than likely do so, because Russia is not advancing at any speeds that is alarming. The Pokrovsk battlefield will continue well into 2025, and Ukraine needs to hold territory in Kursk into 2025 to create a political demand within Russia to shift focus from Ukraine, from Pokrovsk, to Kursk, to liberate Kursk instead. But we'll see. Ukraine needs to hold on to territory in Kursk. They need to have some success in Glishkovo. Otherwise, Russia will just keep grinding and chipping away at the Ukrainian forces in Kursk. So they need to have some success on the battlefield, and pretty soon in Kursk. Otherwise, what's the point? If Russia can kick them out, if they have to withdraw from Kursk, then Russia has, 30, 40, 50,000 troops on the Sumy border that can follow the Ukrainians into Sumy Oblast. And then you're fighting in Ukraine instead of in Russia. So what's the point of retreating then? Or Russia will take those 30, 40, 50, 60,000 troops in Kursk and move them to Kharkiv, maybe have a breakthrough there, or move them to Pokrovsk and make sure that that operation becomes a success. Ukraine has no choice. They have to stay in Kursk. They have to fight in Kursk. And they can't keep up this grind when they're on the offensive. They need to have some form of operational success at Veseloye primarily. They need to get past that town so that they can threaten Glishkovo itself. So at the moment, it's not looking great. Russia is on the move again in Kursk. Ukraine is stuck on Veseloye. We're not seeing anything on the maps over at Tetrino, which is a bit weird. And Russia is slowly moving in closer to get to a position at Pokrovsk where they can launch that final assault on the city itself. But the Pokrovsk fight will go on for months. It's not over a week from now. That will continue for several months. So Ukraine must stay in Kursk for as long as possible to make Russia have to choose between fighting in Pokrovsk or do they send troops to liberate Kursk, essentially. Yeah, I guess that's gonna have to be it. Not sure what else to add. And this on the fly video, I just made some quick notes right here, and so that's gonna have to be it. I'll see you in the next one, and as always, go på marsch, Ukraine, and give them hell.